Hi, welcome to Math 112 IN1 for the spring 2022 semester at SWIC. My name is Jennifer Simonton and I will be your instructor for this course. The purpose of this introductory video is just to show you some things about how to navigate through the course, go over the syllabus, explain how assignments work, and hopefully answer lots of questions that you may have about getting started. All right, so I'm going to switch over the screen here to Blackboard. You will do everything this semester pretty much through Blackboard. If you're familiar with Mymathlab from previous courses, we are going to use it, but we have a new way of accessing it, and all of it is done through Blackboard, so you only have to have one login. If you can get to Blackboard, then you can basically do the entire course from there. All right, so I'm going to switch over here so you can see. This is pretty much what you are going to be seeing whenever you log into Blackboard for the first time. I'm going to move this over here so we can see the tabs on the left side. So if you're watching this video, then you've made it to this first page and under the announcements. So you're going to start here by clicking on the Syllabus tab. And that will bring you to this screen, and then you can open the syllabus from there. All right. Everything you need to know pretty much is contained within the syllabus. All right, so at the beginning here, it just gives you some general information about the course. My name, this is my phone number to my office. If you are on campus and would like to see me in person, this is where my office is located. Belleville campus, main complex, room 2047, that's on the second floor. This is an online course, and then my email is probably the most important thing here. In order to get in contact with me, that is probably your best bet, to send me an email. I check that frequently throughout the day, evenings, weekends, etc. And if you need a response to something quickly, you need to try to contact me via email. My office hours this semester, in-person office hours are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 9 to 9:50. I'm just in my office at those times. There's no need to have an appointment. I have a virtual office hour on Wednesdays at 11, meaning that I am available via Teams. However, if you need to see me and you would prefer the virtual option or the face-to-face option, pretty much either of these would work. If you want to meet via Teams at 9 o'clock on whatever day, fine. If you want to come in person on Wednesday at 11, that's also fine. Having said that, these are what's scheduled on my schedule, so you don't need to tell me, well, if you need a Teams meeting, you're going to need to tell me ahead of time, but in terms of in person, you don't have to let me know ahead of time. I realize those are not great times for everyone, so if you prefer to meet with me outside of those hours, all you have to do is send me an email and say, hey, can we get on Teams? I have some questions, but I'm only available at 4 o'clock today or whatever. And that would be something that we can work around. So I'm more than happy to schedule a different time if necessary. Again, this is just reiterating what I had just said about communication. Email is the best way to get in touch with me quickly. If I don't respond to you within 24 hours, it means I overlooked the email, which is rare, or I didn't see it. It didn't come through. So you might want to reach out a second time. But normally it's much faster than that. Depending on what I have going on at the time, you might get a response immediately. Also, I will be sending out weekly announcements through Blackboard, reminding you of what to do each week. So if you're doing your assignments, you're logging into Blackboard regularly anyway. But those will always be sent as an email announcement as well. So you should be checking your SWIC email several times a week. Also, if I have to communicate with you one-on-one and it's not something going to the whole class, it's going to be through email. Okay, so please get in the habit of checking your SWIC email on a regular basis. Okay, also in our math department at SWIC, even our online courses, we have a proctored testing requirement, meaning that you have to take the test in a proctored environment. So you need to plan to come to campus to take the required test and the final exam using our testing center. We will talk more about that later in this syllabus. The next thing here, course description, prerequisites, and objectives. Those things I'm not going to read to you. You may read those on your own. This just kind of goes over the topics we're going to cover. Prerequisites talks about how you would place into this course. And then the objective is just a specific list of things that we're going to do within the semester. Okay, so if you're interested in reading through that, it's there for your reference. All right, so here's where the next part of probably the more important information is. All right, you will be required to sign up for Mymathlab. You do not need to purchase anything in order to do that. We will go through and I'll explain to you in this video exactly how to get signed up in Mymathlab. There's an access code provided via Blackboard. Okay, there's not a number somewhere in the syllabus that you have to access, but it's right here in Blackboard. 7 and 8, pages 7 and 8 of the syllabus give specific instructions on how to get signed up. If you would like a hard copy of the textbook, which is not a requirement, but some people just like to have the hard copy of the book, this is the textbook that we're using. Calculator. I recommend that you have a TI-84 graphing calculator or something similar. A TI-83 would work fine. Any version of the TI-83 and 84 you'll follow along with no issues. If you have a different type of graphing calculator, it's probably fine. However, the demonstrations that I do in the videos to show you how to do the problems that we're going to talk about are done with the TI-84. So that's why, especially if you're not familiar with that with the calculator that you're going to use, it's best to get one of those types. If you don't have one, you won't be able to do some problems the way that I show you. You'll have to do them a different way because you won't have the calculator. And you'll be at a time disadvantage on some tests, meaning that if I assume you're using the calculator, the problems go much faster than if you were not. You can do all the math without the calculator. It's not impossible. It's just we do incorporate a technology aspect to this course, and that's the requirement. All right, the grading procedure. You're going to do all of your assignments in Mymathlab. Tests, including the final, are given at the SWIC testing center of your choice, meaning you can use any of our testing centers, whether it's Belleville campus or Granite. All other assignments, meaning homework and the reviews for the test, you're doing on your own at home. It is an online course, but meaning it's not self-paced, meaning that there are due dates for things. If you don't complete things by the due date, there's a penalty. You may work on homework after the due date, but there'll be a penalty for not completing it on time, and tests have to be done by the due date, without exception. If the date that it's due, you're not available to come and take it, okay, you may take it earlier. Okay, you just cannot take it after the due date. We'll go over the calendar with all the due dates listed later on. All right, the breakdown of grades is listed here. The homework assignments will be a total for the whole semester of 50 points. That's 10% of your grade. The test reviews, they're set up as technically a homework, but if it's a review for a test, they're worth different amounts of points. 5% of your grade total, and that includes all of the test reviews. So you'll have 3 that are 5 points each. So those are the regular test reviews, and then there's 1 that's worth 10 points because it's the final exam review. So that's a total of 25 total points. Tests, 60% of your grade. There are 3 of them, and they're worth 100 points apiece for 300 total points. And then your final exam is worth 25% of your grade. In other words, 125 points. Grades are updated in Mymathlab immediately as you complete them, and they are also transferred over to Blackboard automatically. However, if you're checking in, if you just did an assignment in Mymathlab, it might, if you check Blackboard like right then, it might not show up yet, meaning that it might take an hour or overnight, or I don't know what the settings are for the institution on how that updates, but they will be contained in both grade books. Okay, I just grade on the basics 10-point grading scale. So if you end up at the end with a 90 or better, you have an A, and you score in the 80s as a B, 70s as a C, etc. All right, so you'll need to navigate both Blackboard and Mymathlab, okay? Logging in through Blackboard, and then once you're in Mymathlab, you will be using that format. All right, before you start your homework assignments, you need to open, view, and take notes on the lecture videos posted in Blackboard under the Course Content tab in the Lecture Videos folder. All right, do not skip this step. This is not a requirement. These are not graded, but this is the equivalent of going to class in an online course. Okay, only you have to make time to fit this part into your schedule. Okay, meaning over here on this side of your screen, there is a course content folder. So you will click on that. Okay, and then there's two folders inside of here, lecture videos and lecture notes. If you click on lecture videos, all right, then they're subdivided by how they're grouped on a test. So if I open the videos for test number 1, I start with lecture video number 1. And I click that, and there's a YouTube video, and it shows on your screen my written out lecture notes, and you will hear me explaining each problem step by step. All right. Some of these at the beginning have 2 parts for a section, because when I first started making these, my screencast app only let me do 15 minutes at a time. So if it took longer than 15 minutes, I had to split it up into 2 parts. But later, after I think this first chapter was over, everything's in one, because I was able to make videos that were longer. Okay, so that's why some of them have 2 at the beginning. All right. In the other folder, lecture notes, you will see, again, subdivided by test. Here, if you click on this file, it is a PDF copy of the notes that I am explaining in the video. So I put those in there because some people are different. Some people like to write down as they hear me explain, and that's how they learn. Or you can just have your own copy and just kind of follow along as I go, if you prefer that as well. So that's up to you. Okay, those are just there for your reference, but that's all that's under course content. Okay. All right, so let's go back here to my syllabus. Okay. All right, so where were we here? We were... All right, so that's what this says, okay? So the videos and the notes are under course content. Watch the video, listen to the explanation of the problems, either write the examples down yourself or follow along with the lecture notes handout. All right, homework. To do the assignments, they are assigned in Mymathlab for every section of the book that we cover. It's set up as a learning tool. You'll have unlimited attempts to get a problem correct. Pay attention to due dates, because you are penalized for not completing things by the due date. All homework is worth 50 points. Okay, we will look at homework in just a second when we get to the Mymathlab portion. All right, test reviews. There are 3 of them, 1 for each of the tests. They're set up as homework. However, you don't have quite the flexibility. You will not have access to view an example in the test review. Okay, so if you need to go back and find out how to do something, you have to go back through your notes that you took or my lecture notes that you have printed out and find that. And you only get 4 attempts per question on a test review. In the homework, you have unlimited tries before you get it right, and you're not penalized no matter how long it takes you. But by the time we get to the review, we should have learned some things. Okay, so after 4 tries in the test review, you can't fix it. Okay. Each test review is a total of 5 points. Okay. Again, pay attention to the due dates. Test reviews are not, you're not allowed to go back. So if it's typically due on the day that the test is due. Okay. So if it's not done by that day, or whatever score you have by the end of that day, that's what you get. You can't go back later for partial credit. That just happens on homework. All right, tests, there are 3 of them total. Each covers about 2 to 3 chapters of material, and each test is worth 100 points. All right, these are the ones you have to come to campus to take at the testing center. You make an appointment with the testing center, and you have to have a photo ID when you come so they know who you are. It doesn't have to be SWIC ID, it just has to have your name and photo on it. All right, when you arrive, you'll log in at a computer, click on your assignments tab, and then on the test you want to take. Then you'll have to wait for the proctor to come in and put the password in for you, and make sure you tell them if you're doing a test 1, 2, or 3, or the final, so that they can put the right password in. and then you have 75 minutes to complete the test. Okay, once you're done, you'll click submit, and then you'll see your score. Okay, you will be allowed to use a calculator as long as it does not have a CAS. Okay, it cannot be a CAS calculator. All right, so a TI-89 is not allowed, an Inspire that has a CAS built in is not allowed, but any other, hopefully you have a TI-84, because that's what I'm going to be using when we have to do calculator problems, but any graphing calculator without a CAS or a scientific is allowed. You cannot use an app on your cell phone as a calculator. All right, the final exam review is just like the other reviews, but it's longer because that's comprehensive, so that one's worth 10 points. And then your final exam, also comprehensive, that you'll have 2 hours to complete, again, at the testing center. And the due date for that would be by Friday, May 13th. Okay, that would be when you have to have that completed. Okay, I do give, you'll notice in Mymathlab that they are fairly picky about answers, especially like if there's one blank and you don't have the answer entered in the exact format that they're expecting, even though it might technically be right, they'll mark it wrong. So on homework, you'll be allowed to fix that, okay, on your own. Like for example, say the answer to a problem is 5, and in the box you type x equals 5. They're not going to take that because they don't want the x equals part. They're just looking for the number. Okay, so on homework, you've got unlimited tries, so you can fix things. But on the test, you won't have that opportunity. So I will go back and review every single question on every single test and the final and assign partial credit for those types of things. Okay, so even if you don't submit scratch paper or you don't have it in an organized fashion, I can tell sometimes that you deserve partial credit for the situation that I just explained. However, sometimes you have an answer and it's just wrong, right? The answer was 5 and you typed 2, all right? If I don't have scratch paper to look at how you got to your answer, I can't give you any points for that. However, if you would like to receive partial credit on tests in your final and you turn in your scratch paper when you leave the testing center, it must be written out in an organized fashion. I'm not going to grade something that is just scratch work. You don't have to do things in the same order. Like if you want to start, like if you look at problem 1 and you want to skip it and come back to it, that's fine. You can start with number 3 and then do number 10 and then come back to number 1 as long as they're labeled on your paper. All right? And I will then look at your scratch paper, and if I can find that the only mistake you have was, you missed a negative sign somewhere and that gave you the completely wrong answer, I can give you partial credit. All right? So don't panic whenever you submit your test and you felt like you did pretty well and it says you got a 62%. Okay, after I review things for partial credit, most people's grades on their exams go up significantly depending on how much work you submitted. Okay, so that obviously won't happen immediately. It'll take time for me to get your scratch paper back, look over it, go in, right, and make some changes. All right, makeup and late work. All assignments are expected to be completed by their due dates. Okay, there's a calendar on the end of this document that explains when those are. For homework, this does not include test reviews. You'll be allowed to complete the assignment after the due date, but you'll receive a deduction of 15%. Okay, so if you did not start an assignment at all and it's past due and you do it late, you can get every problem right, but you'll get an 85% instead of 100%. All right, the deadline for late homework submission is Sunday, May 8th. Okay, so you have like during that last week and during May, you can go back and do the very first section of homework if you didn't do it. Okay, so there's no, the whole semester will be open until May 8th. Anytime after a due date has passed, you can go back and fix it. And it only applies to things done after the due date. So for example, say you got through half of the homework assignment and you had a 50%, you can go back and do the other half and you'll receive your 15% deduction just for that second half. So if you get all those right, you'll end up with like a 92% instead of 100 or something, because it'll only take the deduction off of the problems that you did late. All right, if you miss a test, you need to communicate with me as to why. You are responsible for initiating the makeup process. Okay, it needs to be a reasonable absence. All right, being on vacation, being out of town, those are not excused. But I understand things may come up, okay, that are out of your control. All right, so if that happens and it requires you to miss the test, communicate with me in a timely fashion, and we can discuss the options. If you miss one test, you can replace that with your final exam score at the end. So say you missed test 1 and you got a 0, but you finished the course, took test 2 and 3 and the final, whatever you get on the final, then that comes back in and becomes your score on test number 1. Okay, it can only happen for one exam though. Okay, also, having said that, some people maybe take all of their tests. If your final exam at the end is better than whatever your lowest test score was, so say you weren't really ready for test 1, but you took it just because it was due and you got a 20%. Okay, and say that was, your lowest test. If you take the final then, say on the final you got a 70%, then that 20% becomes a 70% because it's better. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a 0 to be replaced by the final, right? If your final's better than whatever your lowest of the 3 tests are, it will get replaced at the end. All right, attendance policy for online classes. You have to demonstrate ongoing participation in Blackboard and Mymathlab. Means you must maintain regular communication. That basically means you don't have to send me emails every week or anything, but I just need to be able to log into Mymathlab and see that you are completing assignments and logging in weekly. Okay, so if you are not active to the course prior to the 10th day roster and I have not heard a word from you, then you're going to get dropped. All right, or if you go more than 7 consecutive days without logging in to Blackboard and submitting assignments or communicating with me about why that is the case. Okay, then you may be withdrawn. Core competencies, that's just college information about what core competencies we address in this course. Student learning outcomes. Most of this stuff at the end here is kind of self-explanatory. Emergency closure, that doesn't really apply a ton to online unless there's going to be a closure of the testing center during a test week. Just check Blackboard. I'll be putting any announcements or updates in the announcements in Blackboard if that's necessary. If you have disability and access accommodations, I just need your paperwork for that, and that's not an issue. We can take care of that. Just the definition of cheating, okay, basically, if you're caught cheating, you get a 0 the first time, and if you're caught a second time, you get withdrawn with an F. Academic rigor, just explaining that you're going to need to do some work on your own outside of just taking tests, okay? So you're going to have to make good time management will be key. These are the COVID precautions for this semester, just explaining we do have new COVID protocol in terms of coming to campus, so you should have received information from SWIC about that. So when you have to come and take your tests, you have to abide by those requirements, so either upload your vaccine card or you have to undergo weekly testing to show that you are negative. If those things are an issue for you, then we may have to discuss other options, okay, because of the online format of the course and the math department wide policy of proctored testing. All right, so just let me know if you have concerns about that. And again, all of these other things are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to read those to you, but you can read through those things on your own. All right, so let's get down here to the Mymathlab information. All right, so these are the pages where it walks you through step by step of how to get registered, and then after you're registered, how to access your assignments. All right, you're going to follow these instructions. You're going to log into Blackboard. You're going to click on our course. Okay, you're already there. If you're watching this video, you know how to do that. All right, then you're going to click on the access code link in the course menu on the left. So over here on the left side of your screen, there's a thing that says access code. You're going to click on that. Okay. You're going to locate the materials for your math course. So you may have other courses listed besides your math course if you have Pearson products available through those. So you find the one for college algebra, right? And then there is a little green button here that says reveal access code. So you're going to click on that. All right, you're going to write that down, okay, or copy it. I think you might be able to copy and paste, okay, if you want to do that, but I would probably write it on a piece of paper just in case the copy paste doesn't work. All right, then you're going to go back to the course page. This time you're going to click on Mymathlab. and then you should see a screen like this. Clicking any of these Pearson links will start your process for registration. All right, if you've not used Pearson with Blackboard before, you'll be prompted to enter or to accept the end user license agreement. Just click the I accept at the bottom. You'll only have to do that once. Okay, and then create your account or log in if you have a previous Pearson account from a previous course. Okay, either you're new, you click here, and if you have a course that you've used before with a username and a password, you're going to enter that over here. All right, if you've already used Pearson before, you'll go straight to step 7 here. So on the payment page, click the blue access code button on the left, over here, access code, and then you're going to put in the code that you copied from that access code link, and then you should have access to your materials. Okay, so if you have questions or have trouble with that, there's all kinds of Pearson help available. Our Success Center on campus can also help you with that, or if you want to contact me, I can help troubleshoot if you have problems getting signed up. Okay, and then once you have done that, that'll only be done one time. All right, then you will use the course links in step 5 to get started. Okay, so once you have gone through all of those steps, I'm going to show you over here how you're going to get to your assignments. All right, so after you're here and you've done all of that, when you click on the Mymathlab link, okay, you can go to course home, or you can go straight just to your assignments. If you just want to get in here, if you don't want to use like the ebook or any other things within Mymathlab and all you care about is doing homework, which is all I require, you can click all Mymathlab assignments. Oh, I'm on my home computer here. This is gonna, hold on a minute. Sorry, that's my dog. Oh, you know what? I am in student view mode, and that's why it's asking me for all this stuff. So I'm not in my account. So anyway, this is kind of how you would go through for the instructions on that sheet, right? You click your access code, you'll have written that down, you'll type all that in, etc. Okay, so I got to get out of here because I wanted to show you what it looks like from your end. I'm going to go here just a second to exit preview. I'm not a student, so that's why it's not recognizing me. So when I click on the Mymathlab here, and then I click on all assignments, now that I'm logged in as an instructor, because I've already done all of this, right, it'll take you to this screen, all right? So then you can click on your homework assignment, and then you can click on question number 1, or whatever you want to start with, and then you can go from there. Okay, and after you've watched my video, in terms of how to do the problems, you should have notes, right, on how to do this. Okay, so if you have questions about any of that, just contact me and we can work through that. Just as a quick comment here, if you've used Mymathlab before, you're familiar with this, okay? But like for this problem, you're asked to solve this equation, okay? If you need help with that, if you just can't look at that and go, I know exactly how to do that based on what my notes say, you can go to help me, you can go to view an example. View an example is the one most people like the best, is because it gives you a separate problem that is done similarly and walks you through step by step, which you'll have similar things if you have watched my video, or you can get more help by watching a textbook made video. Not me, that's not my video, that's somebody else, but they'll explain it. Reading the textbook, most students don't like to do that, but it's available if you do. Or Ask My Instructor is if you want to send me an email and just have me try to troubleshoot where you're stuck. It's not immediate because I'll have to then see the email, click on it, respond. Okay, but that's also an option. Okay? All right, so let's go back over here. All right. we are almost done here. All right, so once you've gotten in Mymathlab, that's, you just log into Blackboard, click that link, and it takes every day, and it takes you to your assignments. Okay, here's the assignment calendar that I had talked about earlier. All right, so week number 1, your assignments are to complete the 1.5 and 2.1 homework. That's in Mymathlab, and those are due by Friday, January 21st. So it gives you whatever week you're on. It begins on a Saturday and ends on a Friday. Okay, because we start on Saturday the 15th. Usually 2 to 3 sections of homework per week. Okay, you are always allowed to work ahead. All right, if you feel like, okay, this stuff at the beginning is review, or I'm familiar with it and it goes pretty quick, and you want to knock out 3 weeks worth of stuff in 2 days, go for it. Okay, you can always work, and get things done ahead of time. That includes tests. All right, so our first test is scheduled for this 4th week. So you'll have the review assignment and the test. That's all you'll have to do that first week. All right, the test, the reason most things are due Friday. Notice there's a couple things due on a Thursday. Okay, a test. If it is a test week, this week it's due Thursday because the campus is closed on Friday the 11th for Lincoln's birthday. So your test has to be done by Thursday of that week. Okay, you don't have to take it on Thursday. You can take it anytime before that. You can take it Thursday. You can do it Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. You can do it the previous Friday if you need a Friday. Okay, but that's the deadline. And then this second one is due on the Friday. That's right before spring break. And then your third test happens to fall the week of Easter. So we are closed on the Friday before Easter. So again, the reason this one is due on a Thursday is because the campus is not open on Friday the 15th. Okay, so again, that review. So notice if there's a test, the only things you have to do that week are do the review, which is the study guide, and then do the test. I will also tell you here that you should use these reviews as a study guide for your exams. Okay, they're longer, they have more problems than your actual test will have, but every question on the test is found somewhere in the review, or something extremely similar is in the review. So if you can do the review problems without your notes, okay, without any extra resources, and you understand the process of those, when you get to the test, there will not be anything new. Okay? All right, and then your final is due this last week here, week 16, in your finals is just, again, complete your exam review and complete your final exam by Friday, May 13th. Okay? Spring break, we're closed this week, doesn't mean so, but if you're online, you can work ahead that week. If you've got some free time during that week, you don't have to do any assignments, but if you want to get a head start on Chapter 4, no problem whatsoever. Okay? All right, so that is kind of just what I wanted to talk about and go over with you, sort of in a face-to-face format, rather than just having you read things on your own and try to understand what is going on. At any time throughout the semester, if you have any questions about anything at all, please do not hesitate to contact me. You can stop by my office, okay, or you can send me an email, or if you'd like to talk over the phone or meet on Teams, we can certainly make arrangements for that. Okay, so good luck getting started. Good luck with the rest of your classes this semester, and I will hopefully see you soon. All right.